Shalom, 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 family. Let us all start with a prayer. Let's rise and face the east. Hallelujah. Great King, God of our forefathers. People said, let there be, and there is. Taught out for all things and everything, O great King. Taught out for life, O great King. Taught out for allowing us to be able to function fully, O great King. Taught out for allowing us to know your laws, statutes, and commandments, O great King. Taught out for establishing us as your people, Father, that we may lead the nations, O great King, to understanding your laws, statutes, and commandments. That we may lead ourselves and our people to understanding your laws, statutes, and commandments, Father. I ask that you be with us this day, O great King, the Shabbat, Father. I ask that you be with our words, O great King, that we not speak of the wrong things, O great King, that we not lead no one astray, Father. I ask that you guide our teachings, O great King. Taught out for all things and everything. There is none but you, O great King. Taught out for the breath of life that you established within us, O great King. I ask that you be with those that are in need of you, O great King. I ask that you be with the sick, O great King, the fatherless, the widow, O great King. I ask that you bless them, O great King. I ask that you be with the homeless, Father, and that you bless them, O great King. I ask that you allow us to be able to do the best that we can, Father, to help those people ease their suffering and their pain, O great King. Taught out for our elders, Father. Taught out for those that paved the way for us, O great King. I ask you allow us to not look towards their wrongs, O great King, but I ask that you allow us to understand the rights that they helped during their time, O great King, for no man is perfect, Father. We come before you humble, O great King, and we ask that you accept us, Father. And with that, we say hallelujah.
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 Amen. Hallelujah. Shalom, bro. Well, first, by giving thanks to Supreme Intellect, Universe, the God of our forefathers, God of Abraham, God of Isaac, God of Jacob, bring Hana sees the poor, brings the Vula, to all the princemen, the chiefs, dignitaries, to all our brothers, our sisters, children, bid you in the tongue of our forefathers. Shabbat shalom, shalom aleichem. So with that, we have you want to say them too? Good. All right. So with that being said, well I taught last time, I spoke on us building a system, and I'm gonna continue to speak on that, until we move in that direction and establish that. But me and our brother Chief Yashar, we came up with the name of this topic is building blocks for the restoration of our nation, right? And it's a 5-step system to establishing that. You see, a lot of times we get caught up in the way. We get caught up in this way. We get caught up in the ways of the nation, and it pulls us away from our way of living. It pulls us away from the way we're supposed to be, the way we're supposed to carry ourselves as a nation, but for a nation as a people. So it's a 5-step tier program. Basically, it's very simple. Just something for us to think about. And Chief, you want to say that? Hold on. It just says no sound. It says no sound. Hold on. It just says no sound. All right. Good. All right. So, all right. No. So we good. All right. They got in there. They good. So what we were saying was, we just came real quick, just to reiterate real quick. We basically the topic, you see the topic on the screen, but it's building blocks towards restoring our nation. It's a 5-step system that we put in place just to establish that. So, like I said, we go far away from ours. We go so far away from ours because of our lack of understanding that we get caught up in the ways of the nations, and we've gone far from our spiritual aspect of living. And in order for us to get back to where we need to be and get back to our creator, we have to and go back into our spirituality. We got to get back one with the creator. So this is just a 5-step tier program, and establishing that it's a conversational forum between me and Chief Yashar, just going back and forth on ideas and doing so, and just introducing this program that we put together. All right, hold on, Chief. They saying no sound again. Everybody's saying the same thing. And I ain't got none on mine either. All right, hold on, Chief. They saying no sound again. All right, everybody's saying the same thing. And I ain't got none on mine. I see them. I'm saying sound. I see them. Hold on, Chief. They say no sound again. All right, oh, they can hear me. They can't hear you. I see them. I'm saying sound. All right. Yeah, they can hear me. Nope. Nope. Hold on.
Sound check.
Nope.
Sound check.
Sound check. All right. Yeah. You good. You
All
good.
right, cool. Sorry about that, family. I'm trying to multitask here, but we're gonna get it done, right? So you did the basic introduction, yes. So we just get right into it. So the topic that we're gonna talk about right now is trust and belief. You know what I'm saying? Chief Malachi was talking about this earlier today, and it's very important for us to understand what is belief, right? When we read in the scriptures, we see in many different various places, right? It talk about trust in Jehovah, trust. But what does it mean to trust? You know what I'm saying? Like, what is trust? Matter of fact, to our family, this is gonna be a participation type thing too. Could y'all do me a favor and type in the comments what trust means to y'all, right? I'm gonna talk before I give the definition of trust. I want y'all to type into the comments what trust means to y'all. But we look at in various portions of the scriptures and they speak about trust. Chief Malachi spoke about this. He actually spoke about this in terms of Melech Dawid, King David. And he was saying that King David trusted in the Most High God. He said King David picked up 5 rocks. That's what he said, right? But he only needed one. And it's amazing because when you tie in the scriptures, and that particular thing, when he said it like that, it kind of brought my mind someplace else. Because it's multiple times in the Psalms we hear King David say that the Most High God is his rock. And it's amazing that he used a rock as a weapon to take down this giant that was oppressing and challenging the whole nation of Israel, the army at that time. You know what I'm saying? And said he picked up 5, but he only needed 1. And he utilized that rock, as we know, to defeat Goliath, chopped his head off after he knocked him out, so on and so forth. But it was his trust in the Most High God that made that story so amazing. Because it didn't matter what he was up against. His trust it brought him through. Now, I asked y'all in the comments to write down what trust is. I'm going to tell you what trust is.
You want to read some of that first, or you want to? Oh, no.
You can read some of the comments. You can see them?
Yeah, I can see them. All right, so we got one is letting go and letting Yah.
Okay.
Another is being able to depend on and believing. We got trust. To me means trust. To me is what's probably the ability to be loyal to someone or something. Another one says solely believe in someone or something. When you pray, you don't still worry after. to have no doubt that Yah will take care of whatever issues and problems you have. In other words, confidence.
Okay, confident. Those are all great answers. I like those answers. All great. I'm gonna read the true definition of trust. Right? Trust is a firm belief in the reliability, truth, and ability or strength in something or someone. The key word that I like to use out of that is belief. Now, I challenge everybody to do this. When you read in the Psalms, right, and it says trust, I want you to take the word trust out and put the word believe in. All right? And see how that statement or whatever it is you're reading transforms and what it means to you at that point. You understand? No, I'm not taking from just because, we're going to have somebody on there that say don't take from or add to the words of the Most High God. That's a fact. The Psalms, that's written by man, and it's inspired. We're not adding to or taking from, because the definition of trust is a firm belief. But sometimes when you break things down to the simplest forms, it gives you a better understanding and it hits different. What you saying, Prince?
Basically, you just said it just now, giving you the words and making you see it within a different context.
Exactly. And it hit different. You understand what I'm saying? So now when we look at belief, the question I ask our people, and I've asked this question a few times, I have to ask myself this question at times. Do I truly believe what's written in the scriptures? Do I have a firm belief in my Creator? When I'm going through things or I'm faced with some adversity or something, do I believe? When I'm opposed by somebody or an organization or a person that's greater than me, whether it be in substance or size, do I believe in my God that He's going to deliver me in my righteousness? These are the things that we have to begin to ask ourselves. So the first topic we chose was trust and belief. Prince, you want to elaborate?
Because in you trying to build, first off, all these things go first from building yourself and understanding your connection with God and self that can allow you to go and help build a nation. You see, because you get a lot of energies. You get negative and positive energies, but the negative energies are the things that tear down. And we've seen that within the scriptures. We got that from even Dathan and Byron during the time of Moshe. You get a negative aspect that sits in the midst of something or some action taking place towards liberation, and it wears the hearts of the people. Even when Israel went to war, you had to get rid of the faint-hearted individuals, because those few faint-hearted could turn those soldiers to second guessing.
Right.
So what happened is you first got to build the trust and belief within yourself, understanding that you do trust in the Creator. You understand what I'm saying? And a lot of times what we fail to realize are we are generations, so many generations behind this, that a lot of times, a lot of these things that we see and that we read in the scriptures, it seems foreign to us because we haven't actually lived it. We haven't actually, a lot of us haven't actually witnessed the land, stepped foot on the land to have an understanding of what all this is for. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we grow up from our parents telling us reading this to us and elaborating on the scripture to us and us believing it. And then us growing up on our own to do the same thing to our children. But the same way you might read a book of fairy tales, it can sort of fall in the same aspect if you understand what I'm saying. So right. What we have to is get that connection between the Creator and yourself first. And a lot of times it takes things happening within your life, and it takes you separating yourself from people. It takes you separating yourself from the masses to get a sort of connection with your Maker that can allow you to attest to how great He is and move forward on your trust with Yah.
Right.
Also, a lot of us, that's why, like off what you said earlier, do I actually trust in the Creator? Even within the scriptures, it took our forefathers going through tests with Yah for them to say, like in the instance, like they called Him the God of my father. But then afterwards, you say, show me or to work with me here, Father. Show me this, oh great King, and then you will be my God. Not saying that Yah ain't his God. I haven't been through what my father's been through to really fully understand this. And now this is me going through it, and this is my chance, an opportunity to see your work firsthand, Creator. Show me that, please.
That's
you understand what I'm saying? And that's how it works. Go ahead, Chief.
That's a fact, man. Everything you saying, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I wholeheartedly agree with. You know what I mean? Like, one of the key points that I had picked up and I was looking at concerning that was Psalms 18, chapter 18, verse 2. And I'm gonna read it very briefly. And it says, and he said, Psalms 18, sleep God, verse 2. It says, David, this is a song from David, servant of Jehovah, who spoke unto Jehovah the words of this song in the day that Jehovah delivered him from the hand of all his enemies and from the hand of Saul. And he said, I love thee, O Jehovah, my strength. Jehovah is my rock and my fortress and my deliverer, my God, my rock. In him I take refuge. But you notice it said in the day that the Most High God delivered him from all his enemies, meaning he went through something and was brought out of it. Even when you look in Job, you know, towards the end of the story of Job, there's a portion in there where he says, I see God. It's a portion that you reach in your life where you actually see the hand of the Most High God working and moving things around in front of you. But you have to build that trust and that belief first. You see, I like to look at Father Abraham as an example, right? Father Abraham heard a voice. He hearkened unto that voice. He left his father's house. His father was established. He stepped out on his own. Him and all his host and his nephew. And he went out and he encountered different things. But he stepped out on what he knew deep down in his heart was right. You see, we don't have to step out on a limb like Father Abraham did. Because we have examples in the scripture and we know scientifically, physically, that these things that has transpired, that has been left on record for us, are true and are factual. They have proof and artifacts. A lot of people like that word, artifacts, that can stand the test and prove that these things actually happen. So we don't need to step out like Father Abraham did. But instead, we have to step out like Melech Dawid did, where you know that God is there, even though you're facing things that may seem like they are greater than you. You have to put yourself in a state of righteousness and move forward on the belief that, one, the Most High God is real, that, two, your righteousness demands a victory, and three, none of these heathens that are out there that ain't doing this type of law in no way, shape, or form can prevail over you, because that's what's written on the scriptures. And it's important for us to understand that, because now we're talking about the building blocks, what it takes to build our nation. And me and Prince, yes, we're talking, and interject at any moment, Prince. And we both agreed that there's a concept, me, we, them. You have to work on an aspect of you so that you can bring it to us. That's the we. And then once you bring it to us and we build a community, we can help them, the nations. But I think that what you were saying, Prince, 100% on point. I'm in total agreement with you. And what you said kind of transitions us into our next topic. And our next topic is being spiritually in tuned. If you'd like to elaborate on that, Prince.
Yeah, see, spiritually is a big thing, because what we've lost as a people over time was our spiritual aspect.
Right.
And you need the spirit. The spiritual aspect is key in connecting with the Most High.
Right.
And that's what we have to understand. You see, we done been through so many atrocities, so much trauma, even within the slavery of our forefathers, you know, and the things that they went through, that causes us generation after generation after generation from it to lose our spiritual aspect concerning it. You know what I mean? Like people cry out, you know, and during punishments and things of that sort, during slavery, and it seemed as if, you know, there was no answer. So now you got to remember, those are the same people that's going through the trauma that feel like they got no answer. And then those people have children, and it's instilled in their children, and children has questions, but there's no answer for those children. And then as you go further down the line, our parents and their parents, and then we are the results of the furthest thing from being spiritually in tune with the Creator. So like I said earlier, it seems as if it can be a fairy tale. And then you have to look at that and understand that this is why we're losing a lot of our children. Because we don't give our children anything to grasp onto.
Right.
They have nothing to grasp on concerning this way of life. We give lessons, and then it's back to the world.
Right.
But there's nothing to grasp onto, and then you don't understand it. Like there's no understanding for the church. I know Chief Kazak said something to me the other week, you know, even concerning with, you know, seeing the land and stuff like that. But he said, he's like, you know, you hear it, and it's just seemed like it's something that's not real to you. You know, a lot of times with us, we need tangible things.
That's a
but
fact.
It seemed like it's not real. You know, so you hear the stories of the land, how great it is, milk and honey land, all these different things.
Right.
But since you know the world, you know in America. And then from the way it looked, you know, from when you growing up, you can say, you know, it might not be you to make it to the land. It might be a children, or it might not be a children. It might be a children's children. You know what I'm saying? And this is things that, this the understanding of the land that we have. So even when we say we want to go back to it, we really have no knowledge of what we're going back to.
Right.
Because we never felt it. Or we don't have an example of what it feels like in our times. You know what I mean? So it may draw a lot of people far from it, and a lot of people lose their spiritual connection. Like I said, we are the furthest thing from the Creator. And I think for us to get back in tune with our spiritual connection, we first have to understand how connected we are to the Creator. And then us understanding how connected we are, like I said before when I taught, we as a people and as Israel have to understand that we are fragments of God. I don't think people understand how great it is, right? Like we understand how great the creation was, the aspect of creation, how all these things happen within a 6-day period with Yah. We don't know if it's our 6 days, we don't know how it is, but a 6-day period with Yah. And all these things happen that are unexplainable. Science really can't explain it to this day. But we fail to realize that we are a piece of that. Because we was made within those days.
That's
so and it says in the beginning. So from the beginning, we play a key part, a powerful part. We was made within these days that people can't understand. It said Yah breathed the breath of life into us.
That's it right there. That's it right there.
You know, he breathed the breath of life within us. That means he gave us a piece of him. And then in him giving us a piece of him, he allowed us to play a God-like role on earth. What did Yah, let me ask you a question. And people get scared to go into these kind of topics, but Yah creates from nothing. Yah gave us the ability to create from things like in the course or from a thought. We're able to create and make more. It's a godlike aspect. He gave us dominion over things, which is another aspect of the Creator. So people really don't understand when you hit the spiritual realm of spiritual way of thinking. There's a lot more to the scriptures than we tap into, and we don't tap into it out of a lack of understanding. And one thing that we usually do a lot is we throw out what's that? Hold on one second. What is that?
What's that? Genesis? Not 20. What is it?
Nah, I mean 29.
Yeah,
when
they do
the
secret things belong to Jehovah. Right.
Things that he revealed.
Right.
Us and the children. So we use that a lot, but we don't really understand our aspect on what we're saying, because anything in the scriptures, no, first people got to understand the scriptures is not God's language. The scriptures is made in the language of man for man to understand. So everything within that book is for us to understand. It's for
That's a
our
fact.
knowledge.
That's a fact.
God doesn't speak.
It's a lower level
God
of
doesn't speak Hebrew.
communication. Right.
So that is all for us. So everything within this book is for us to understand. But whether we elevate ourselves to the point of actually gaining the understanding is on us. That all depends on us, how serious we are, how much we want to get in tune with the Creator. You know, because hold on a second, let me see something. It says well, oh, you gonna say something? Well, I don't want to take the whole time with this.
Finish your statement.
Right. So one thing we have to understand and we got to get is the point that you can't dwell in negativity. A negative mind breeds off toxins within your body. You don't ever notice that says people who indulge in evil or who indulge in negativity, they age differently, they age faster, they have issues, they have problems. But a person who did in a positive mindset, like you look at the monks sit up in a mountain, not worry about nobody but themselves. Meditation, different things of that sort, and they live and move within a different way. But us down here in the norm that deal in all these wicked activities and things of sort, we have so many problems. We got so many ailments, and we far from being connected with the Creator. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of times we got to lose the negativity. You know what I mean?
And
it says
that's simple
we got to
bro.
basically
a negative plus a negative equals a negative, pops.
We got to start teaching. I don't know. Well, math, nah.
a negative plus a negative equals a negative, man. Because it's all negative. Math equals so a negative.
No. Oh yeah, it does. You're right. I'm bugging. I'm thinking about odd, even, odd. You're right.
I know.
My fault. I'm wrong. I'm thinking about even, odd. Yeah.
Look.
Nah, right. I tried to catch you. You're right. I'm thinking about even, odd. Odd equals even. I got
right. The people bear witness, right?
All right. So y'all seen that trying to catch him. All right. Nah, but what happened was so it's time for us to start teaching in a different manner. You know what I mean? Like we have to build our things off more positivity. Because the body, when people get spiritual upliftment and stuff, like you ever wonder like with churches. I'm not saying that the people were learning necessarily much in churches, but people don't go to church for the learning aspect because you could talk to them outside, they really don't know, and they'll just see you to their church. They go there just for the upliftment, the spiritual aspect of it. They want to get that high spirit and leave from that building just with a great spirit. And they'll give you whatever money they got in their pocket to get that. It's like a drug. They give you whatever they got in their pocket just to get that positive spirit. And that's the thing in which we got to start instilling within ourselves and our youth. We have to give them that positive aspect, you know, because it says, I'm gonna get a little thing I have wrote down. It says, I said, the time of holding grudges, right, and being unforgiven is over, because it's a contradiction to our way of living. You know what I'm saying? Because we constantly asking Yah for, like, our goal is to get back home, and we know why we not home, and we constantly asking Yah for opportunity to get back and to forgive us. I mean, he even gave us a appointed time where we go all in and afflict ourselves to beg for forgiveness for things that we do. So we can't go from being that kind of person begging the Creator for forgiveness, he who is the Almighty, to after that having our noses in the air to the people around us. You know what I mean? I ain't gonna deal with that person. I ain't gotta talk to that individual. I don't want to deal with them. Like, it's a contradiction to our way of life. It's a contradiction to what we are going through right now, that we deal like that with our sisters. So that's just like, it's so much that we have to do, that we have to gravitate to and get away from to actually get spiritually in tune with the Creator. Now, did you want to say something?
I'm gonna jump in it right now, right? Because you hit some key points. You covered a lot of ground. You know what I'm saying? It's not really a lot to say off of that. I'm gonna just speak on a couple notes that I have written down when it talks about being spiritually in tune, right? Being spiritually in tune, right? We know it's pretty much creating an environment that allows you to be able to connect with your God. You understand what I'm saying? Allows us to being able to connect with our creator. You talked about removing the negative from around you. Negative plus a negative equals a negative. A positive plus a positive equals a positive. A positive plus a negative equals a positive. When a positivity overpowers negativity, you get positive out of that. You understand what I'm saying? This is what we talking about. Like, who is that? The mathematical teacher over there trying to correct me?
Yeah, man. Yeah, she corrected me too last time, you know.
but you understand, like, the positivity overpowering the negativity is a positive thing. But
Let's just stay
we
from
have
math.
to say it again.
I said, let's just stay from math. You know, we both are good at math like that. So
I'm good at math. Yeah, I know
yeah,
numbers, money. Nah, let me
nah,
stop.
go ahead.
But you understand what I'm saying? So it's about creating an environment that is allows you to be able to connect with your God. Now, when we talk about environment, we're not only talking about a physical environment, but we're talking about a mental one as well. Because we understand and know that our forefathers mentally connected with God as well as physically. We understand and know that our forefathers entered a state of meditation. They removed themselves mentally from their surroundings to be able to connect with their God. We also know that our forefathers physically removed themselves. When we look at Father Abraham, as I mentioned earlier, he physically removed himself from the environment that he was in to put himself in the wilderness to be able to connect with his God. We can go back and we can look at Genesis chapter 28, in fact. And this goes to talk about what you were speaking about. Chapter 28, verse 20, where it speaks about Father Jacob. You understand what I'm saying? And it's talking in terms of when he had the dream and he was talking and he had woken up and he had asked God to deliver him. He had that dream out of his original environment. He was someplace for 14 years, if my numbers are correct. You understand what I'm saying? So now here he is in the wilderness, connected with his God. Okay, you want to? Yeah, go ahead, read it for me. 28, 20.
We're in the book of Genesis, chapter 28, verse 20. And Yaakov vowed a vow, saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go, and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come back to my father's house in peace, then shall the Lord be my God.
Now, see, he's building a connection with God at that moment. You understand what I'm saying? Now, a lot of us, we're going to say, how bold can you be to give God terms? You understand what I'm saying? However, God does tell us, test him. But there's a righteous way and a manner in which you go about that. But see, when you are in the middle of something or you dealing with something, it's not far-fetched for you to ask your God to deliver you. And it says a vow, because that was a vow, that was a commitment that Jacob made. Israel made at that point where he said, you deliver me out of this. You return me to my father's house. You give me raiment and food, and you will be my God. In other words, he's going to serve God wholeheartedly in the minute of which God told him to do so. When we going through things and what we got to understand and realize is that once he was delivered and Father brought him out of the midst of whatever it was that he was dealing with, his commitment and his connection was so strong that it's unbreakable. He created an environment to where he was able to build a connection with God. But guess what? Sometimes God creates an environment for us where he's able to build a connection for us. How so? He puts us through things. He causes us to be at a lower estate to where we have nothing else to believe in, to trust in, but him. Many of us have to fall that low to understand that money, cars, jewelry, and even people mean nothing. They cannot save you. It's written in the scriptures, God said, I heal, I wound, I kill, and I make alive. When you reach a certain level or a certain point in your life, there's no saving you. Only saving that can come from that for you is God. So in that instance, God created an environment where you had no choice but to connect with him. But after you make that connection, how you going to move going forward is the question. Father Jacob said how he was going to move.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
Oh, no, but before we jump to the next one, also, my thing is just the faster we understand how much like the Creator you are, is the faster we can move in the right direction and have progress, right? So just for an example, right? When we go, it says, Like we've been see this man that we gotta understand. This is something that we've been doing since our fathers found out there was Israel and had to, label themselves as black Jews and try to make us, try to teach this way to our people. So this is the way we've been doing this for over 100 years in this way. And we still, for the most part, at the same level. There's something else that is missing, and that is our spiritual aspect that we have to tap into.
Now, let me say
You know what I'm
something,
saying?
right?
Like, oh, hold on.
I just want to jump in real quick because you made a quick point, and I just want to touch on the point that you made, and it's dealing with the spirituality, right? The spiritual aspect. There's different levels of healing, right? You can have a person who could study herbs their whole entire life, get sick, and don't know how to apply that to themselves. We spoke about Christians and Israelites. You see, Christians, they go to church for a spiritual healing. It's just a different, you spoke about monks. It's a different level of healing. It's the mental aspect of removing themselves from a reality and creating a new one. You understand what I'm saying? And like you said, we've been doing this way for 100 years over. It's time for us, like you're saying at this moment, to reach another level of healing, another connection with God, to be able to continue to level up and continue to build. Go ahead, bro.
Nah, that's a fact. That's a fact. But I know we gotta move to the next one. But before we move to the next one, it was just I wanted us to actually get a grasp and understand how powerful we are, and because I think once we understand how powerful we are, the power we hold, it will kind of give us a sense of attachment to the Creator. So like even in if we go to like Genesis, right? It says God said, "Let us make man in our image." I mean, God said, "Let's make man," in His image, basically, right? So now we look at that, okay? So a lot of times we really didn't have an answer for it, but understanding it now, you will get a grasp. It's a power in which we hold. Like for instance, Moses, right? The Creator allowed Moses. He told Moses He make him a god over Pharaoh, right? He when the children were stuck, and they were stuck at the Red Sea. He said to Moses, "You Moses, lift up your staff, like do what you got to do, basically."
Right. Make it happen.
Moses was able to do things like that, right? Moses was able to split a rock and cause water to come through. Joshua was able to do the same thing, almost split the sea.
And he stopped the earth.
Saying like these they like stop the earth. Like a lot of things that we don't understand is this book is way more, and this book teaches way more than we dumb ourselves down to understand. Like it would be so far-fetched from us if we don't tap into the spiritual aspect of it, because a lot of these things in the scriptures got to deal with that, like wrestling the angel and like the prophet Elijah going up in the fiery jet. Like we never seen nothing like that.
But you know what that taps into, Prince?
A lot of these things.
That taps into that word that we touched on in the very beginning. Believe. I believe.
Yeah, to believe.
I believe in this and what's being conveyed to us in the scriptures.
But it's just the fact, yeah, you're right. But in our spiritual realm, I think there's so much more that we can, once we understand our role, what we play, like, for instance, God has spiritual beings. We know that for a fact. What are we going to call them? We call them angels. Spirits. Y'all even say it in the spirit of jealousy will come upon you.
Right.
Or this spirit, he even, and it's funny because they can't do anything with us without the permission of the Creator. Even when you look in Job, he asked Satan, where you been? Or he told him what he can and can't do.
Right.
They had the answer to the Creator, but he lets them know, all right, you can and can't. You could put your hands on this one. You couldn't do it before. They can't do it. You know what I mean? So we hold a high set of power, but we have to understand that. And that's it's just so much. Like we just need so much upliftment as a people, man. We just so beaten and bruised and battered. But that's why, like, I like to compare us to people who got themselves established. You know, like a lot of times it may come off like, oh, they talking about the Jewish people or they talking about this, but don't I can't talk about Black Christians because they don't use our same book. I'm not going to talk about the Muslims because they don't use our same book. But when I talk about the Jewish man, it's because they are using our book, our knowledge, and they are succeeding in the way in which we're supposed to succeed. That's the only example I could really give to use in the aspect of us and where we're supposed to be seated.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And if you look, like I said before, and I'm going to keep you until we get it together as a people. You know what I mean? Yes, I'm going to keep hitting you on the head with this information until we get it together. And we're going to get in that too. Without structure, you cannot keep the laws fully. Without a structural setting, you really don't know the laws. Like, it's easy to say you could just live by the laws, the Torah, and be cool. But without spirituality and structure, you really cannot. Because there's so much within the laws that you really cannot finish without having that understanding.
Right.
Or without having a structure to set things up.
Right. Well, you know what? Listen.
But we go to...
Let's transition into the next topic, right? Because everything you're saying speaks to the next topic. And the next topic is manifestation, right? What is manifestation? Before I give the definition, let's light up the chats again. To our family online, let me see y'all write down in the chat what manifestation means to you. All right. While you saying that, I'm gonna just touch on a couple things that Prince Yes was speaking about. You know, a lot of times, Prince, what you're talking about, what you're saying, a lot of times applies to the concept of us believing. We don't see ourselves the way God see us. That's a problem. That's a problem. We don't believe what God is telling us. That's a problem. God told us we holy. Holy means you separated. You can't be amongst the natural and normal things. We belong to him. He's our king, our creator. Anything that belongs to the king ain't caught in the hand of common folks. You understand? The king's grape juice or wine is tasted before he even get it to make sure that it ain't tainted and it's pure. You understand what I'm saying? So with that being said, we're likened under things such as that for a reason, to express and explain to us what our true value is. But our problem is we don't believe it. Everything that's being said, you know why? Because of what we're taught and how we're taught. What we're taught on TV and how we have been taught to believe that we ain't worth nothing. What's one of the common things we always say? Black folks can't get it together. Blacks, that's why you can't invest in black businesses. Huh? That's why black people can't build stuff together. That's why I don't like working with my people. Like, we got all kind of things to say about each other, and all we're doing is regurgitating the things that are said about us to us. I don't understand how somebody else can impose an impression on us about us and ain't even around us. But all we do is regurgitate that. And we make it a reality. We bring it to life by not working with each other. Because when we approach the situation of working with each other, we're approaching it with negative energy. So we're already shutting it down and creating an atmosphere for it to fail. We have to understand that, like you said, we are little G's. We little gods. God gave us the ability to make things happen and manifest things. So we have the ability to create and make things happen. So when we enter a situation with each other, we got to enter it where we create an atmosphere where it can't fail. It has no ability to fail. You understand what I'm saying? Let's read the comments, Prince, if you can.
Oh, I see it. Let me see. What was the question again?
Manifestation.
Okay. Let me see something real quick. It says, speaking it into existence. Words are power. Speaking into existence and action, to come into being, to come into form. Manifestation to me is genuinely believing in something to the point that it happens or comes to being, to come into existence. Speaking and thinking it, and it shall be. When ideas and reality align. when you think, write down and take action or something you desire, when you focus your energy on specific thing, an action or event or abstract idea.
Right. That last person Googled that. I got you. I got you. Abstract idea.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
So, all right. So we talk about manifestation, right? My sister Mary, she shout out to her. She was saying elaborate on that God-like factor, right? So let's elaborate on it, and then I'm gonna give the definition of manifestation. First of all, everything that everybody put in the comments on point. Thank you for that participation, because what you put is on point, right along the lines of the definition. So let's elaborate on the God-like factor. Let's talk about it. In the beginning, it started out as a thought to God. You understand that? He thought about it and it came into being. We have that ability. Chief Malachi talked about it today. What did he say? He said, write it down, create a vision board, see it and speak it every single day. I stand true to this. I created a vision board, and I say 8 out of the 10 things on that vision board I got. And I ain't even look at it every day. I created it once and rolled it up and put it someplace. But the mere fact that I created it and said that this is what I want, I am going to get that. I already set forth that energy into the atmosphere to where I attracted it to me, because I continue to move forward and put action into it. Now, what did God do? God said, let there be light. He spoke it. He thought it, then he spoke it, and it came into being. When we think something, we need to speak it. We got to think positive. We got to talk positive. We got to create that environment. God thought it, he spoke it, and he created the environment for it. Then he spoke everything else, and it came to being, came to fruition. Then he created us, and he created us in his image, and he breathed the breath of life into us, that energy, that ruach, that spirit, that ability to be able to create. Even so much so, when you read in the 2nd chapter, it says, and they shall be like gods. What did that mean? Some people don't touch on that. Why? Secret things belong unto Yahweh. But it's there for our understanding. It's there for us to take it, utilize it for positivity, and grow off of it. Now, when we talk about manifestation, this is the definition of manifestation. An event, action, or object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory or an abstract idea. That is the definition. So we're talking about an action or an object that clearly shows or embodies something, especially a theory or an abstract idea. In other words, you say, I'm going to create this, or I'm going to do this, and you make it happen. That's manifestation. God gave us that ability to do that. So much so, when we look in Genesis, right, in the 4th chapter, and I'm going to read it. I got my little notes here, right? And it says, and we're talking about Cain and Abel here. Because manifestation, I'm going to just show y'all my notes briefly. Like, I got 2 pages. Like, this is big for me. This is reality. This is life. And we got to learn to test things. When we come across this information and we believe it, test it. Put it into, test it. I'm testing this. And this is real. This is 100% real. But let's go. So in Genesis chapter 4, verse 6, and this is about Cain and Abel, right? It says, and Jehovah said unto Cain, why art thou wroth, and why is thy countenance fallen? If thou doest well, shalt thou not be accepted? And if thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, but unto thee shall be its desire, and thou shalt rule over it. Really, it says his and him. That's another topic, though, right? So you have the ability to rule over him. So he's basically saying to Cain, like, no matter what's going on, but if your countenance is good, then ain't it going to be good? But if your countenance is down, sin croucheth at the door. But you still have the ability to what? Create an environment where sin can't even thrive, where sin can't even live. Create an environment to where you rule over it. That's the true definition of manifestation. Prince, I don't know if you got anything you want to add.
No, even with manifestation, you basically have to set yourself on what you want to do and what you're going to do.
Right.
And set up what you're going to have that you can later bring to your people. You know what I'm saying? Like, for instance, it's something I wrote down was like, not only our words, but our actions place things into existence.
Right.
You see, we take the weight on God out of context. I said, there's no salvation without you setting the course. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, a lot of people say, nah, we just wait on God. Nah, we just wait on God. Nah, we just wait on God. But in you doing it, look, I wrote, for the betterment of our nation, we must first acknowledge the need for a system to set things in order. We are our salvation. Our actions set our course for deliverance or destruction.
Wow.
So, aspect, what I'm saying is, you yourself have to put in some form of work, whether it's positive or negative, right? So I said, how you expect y'all to see your worth working with while you have no resume? And I mean, it's like you going on an interview. You're not gonna go on an interview without a resume, right? So it says y'all always shows his resume to the people in the nations. Right? It says, so your hands have to be towards working to uplifting the nation in some way, shape, or form, not uplifting yourself. What someone else does, it might not be your approach, but the main thing is for you to have an approach.
Wow.
What I do might not work for you. What you do might not work for me. But if we all have something to bring to the table, then we are putting something in the manifestation.
Right. And you know what? What we talk, you got more?
No, go ahead.
So what we talking about here also is direction, right? Because when you talk about manifestation, talking about everything you just spoke about, everything I just spoke about, and we also going to give it definitions in words, right? Words have power, and something, like I said, breaking words down, kind of bring it into understanding for you, right? Direction. Have direction. When you create a vision board, that's direction. When you write something down, that's direction. You're putting a course. You have to set a course of action thereafter. But what's that direction? It says a course along which someone or something moves. Keyword, moves. Right? It says the management or guidance of someone or something. The course in which someone moves. So if I say I want this object, I'm going to move towards getting that object. It says also the guidance and management of someone or something. What is guidance or management? It's guiding your life and the things in your life and managing properly, accordingly, the things in your life to go in the direction that you want to go in. So you get to the destination that you want to be. You see, manifestation is our ability to create. It's our ability to play God on earth, right? And I say that lightly, but I say that heavily too. I say it lightly because in no way, shape, or form can we compare ourselves to the Almighty Creator. That's why I said here on earth. We have to understand that God don't dwell on earth, all right? That's for the earth is for man. It says his footstool, right? What is a footstool? Something that you put your foot on. You understand what I'm saying? It's a footstool, something that you put your foot on. You don't put your foot in the footstool, right? So God dwells, he don't dwell on the earth. This is for man. So this is our ability to play God here on earth and our righteousness and cause things to actually come to fruition. With that said, there's no reason why we should still be in the same place we was 10 years ago, 2 years ago, 6 months ago, 3 years ago. If we have a direction and we properly managing and moving in the direction that we say we want to go in, we have no excuse. We merely have to create the environment for that positive mindset to thrive in. Make a direction and go in it. Move towards it. Set a course of action in the like manner to make it happen. Prince, you got anything?
Nah, basically, it's just basically what you're saying, bro. It's just we just have to come up with something and then bring it to the table. A lot of times we get caught on sitting stagnant or comfortable at where we at, and we don't have no drive. A lot of people is so hurt by the system, or quote unquote torn by the system, that they turn themselves away from it. A lot of people have bad taste in this, from this way of life, that they turn themselves away from it. But that's the wrong attitude also, because if something is wrong, you fix it. Because this ain't only my people, it's your people too. So if you see a kink in the armor, you fix it. If there's a weak link in the chain, you fix it.
Right.
You don't leave the chain.
Nah.
Because now you're breaking it.
Right.
But that's where we go. That's where a lot of us is so messed up at. Everyone is torn by something. Everyone was affected positively and negatively by the way things happen within this way of life. So people can't make it like they're the only victim of things that probably happen within their lifetime, because everyone's has some sort of effect. Because this is something coming from the ground up. When you bring in something from the ground, a lot of time it takes a lot of ground field work and neglecting some aspects. But that's why if we stay on the ground, it's going to continue to happen to our children. So it's about us now getting to a higher point in it. And at that point, we got to step up and we got to now elevate ourselves. Because you know what happens? Our abbas and them got this knowledge, fathers, for those that don't know, got this knowledge, and they got the same speech, a possibility of them going into the land with us doing the right thing. Then they grow old. I came into this way with that understanding from my parents and from those around in this way. But I'm now 33 years old. I'm not going to say I'm not going to make it to the land, but I can't say I am also. And now I got kids, and I got to tell my kids the same thing. But at what point do we change the game now? At what point do we say, you know what? It's time for us now to upgrade the way we do things to now fit today's society so we can win over our children.
Right.
And we can make things better for them. You know what I'm saying? Because you got to remember, these kids is not like the kids are old. Like, it's funny because we look at the way we used to do things before, everything was more militant. And then you look at the people now, you're like, yo, what's wrong with people? They ain't militant. But times change. These ain't the militant people anymore. These are the computer savvy, with informational kids. So now you got to tend to these kids as they growing up.
Right. That's a fact, man.
Before you lose.
Man, I just want to backtrack for a second. Because, like you said, man, it's funny. All right, so, like, in terms of people being, like, affected negatively by something that happened in this way of life, right? For one, I believe in accountability, right? Every time a situation happens, we have to look at it. We have to step back and we say, okay, what part did I play in this? A problem with a lot of our people is we don't have accountability. We like to point the finger, but in all actuality,
it goes in our next one. You about to reveal. Well, no, you can reveal our next one.
Yeah. Let me see.
Because I'm about to go down soon. We might as well reveal it.
Well, the last one is community and structure. So, but this goes into it. It goes into it a little bit, but I'm gonna say this: it's accountability, right? Because it's a fact, and you saying to yourself, what part did you play in this? Me and you, we do business together. So we had a conversation maybe a week or two ago about, people getting over on us in our business, right? So we both sat there and agreed to ourselves, it's our fault because we created the atmosphere. We made ourselves vulnerable to that. And we utilized it as a lesson to say, we're going to move this way going forward. We're going to better ourselves and better our business in this manner going forward, to whereas that won't happen and can't happen again. You understand what I'm saying? With that said, even with people who claim that they have a negative or they had a negative encounter with a person of Israel or an issue in Israel or Israel in general, we have negative encounters every single day with the outside world, but we do not look at it as negative. We look at it like, Well,
You
that's
know,
the outside world, so we expect that. The problem is we put too high of an expectation on Israel to where we put Israel on a pedestal of perfection. And any little thing that happens, we like, see, oh, look at that. Israel again, Israel again. Meanwhile, this is happening to you left and right on the regular world. But it's your perception. We have to understand that we ain't a perfect nation. We have a perfect system. But until we implement the perfect system, we are not going to be a perfect nation. But we also have to have accountability in every situation and everything because you learn
you know,
from it. Go ahead, bro.
so we gotta realize too. That what you said, that's a great point. We gotta realize how much time the Creator was done with us, man. We supposed to be a local people. We supposed to have everything. How many
Bro,
times was the Creator done?
listen.
Like people, like we was the most simple-minded people. And that's people understand. Israel has always messed up through the scriptures. How much times y'all wax fat kick, or we pissed him off, or he was about to do away with us? You know what I mean? Things of that sort. So yes, our expectation is too high, but things would be a little better for us if we had a system set in place, and that goes into a community and structure. We have to have a system. A lot of times, like I said, if we going back to the spiritual, being spiritually in tune, if we dealt with our issues with each other and not harbored, we can come together. If we did things in righteousness, we could come together. If we didn't join bandwagons for other people who's our man or whatever the situation may be, and we dealt with things that had judges in a system, we can come together. But that's why we do too much congregationalism and not nationalism, and that's what messes us up. The system is supposed to be overall. You can't have 12, 13 different systems and different things for one nation. And that's what we fail to realize. When you're dealing with the world, Christians is Christians. When you're dealing with a Christian system, it's a national known Christian system. When you're dealing with a Muslim system, it's a national known Muslim system.
Right.
When you're dealing with a Jewish system, it's a national known Jewish. When you're dealing with us, we don't have a system.
Right.
And that's what I'm saying, we are messed up. And it's funny because, like, even with the thing, we look at the Torah, we look at the Torah the wrong way because, yes, we say the Torah is laws. But like Prince Nat usually say too, the Torah will teach you to go outside, dig a ditch, use the bathroom, and cover it. But it don't tell you to wipe your behind and wash your hands. You see, and a lot of times the Torah tell you the judges or those in leadership would, at the time, set things in order and how it's supposed to be. Like, so I have a question. Like, so a question would be, if you was to ask people right now, I'm gonna ask y'all, let me get an answer from y'all online. You would say, what's more powerful, the Torah or the government? Let me see your answer. The Torah or the government to structure?
Why you saying that? Oh man, I lost my train of thought.
Now, everybody gonna put it. That's why it's a setup question.
Right. I lost my train of thought for a second. So far we got one answer. That's the Torah. So let's give it. Let's give it.
I know we got to it. So we got three. We got three.
It's a little lag there. That's why it's a little lag. So
Now,
somebody said, laugh out loud. Come on now, Torah.
now I would say you all are wrong. The reason I would say you all are wrong is, you see, because the Torah is the core. Every religion uses the Torah as a core. The Torah give you core laws. So the Torah a lot of times will tell you some things, but it won't break it down. And that's when you get your leadership. That's when your leadership or your judges at the time will set it in. Because now if you say the Torah, then you have to ask yourself, so then why is the Torah within the government's laws? See, the Torah rests within the government's laws because the Torah is the start of it. And then you build your bylaws, you build your statutes, you build your kukwa around it. And that's how you have a structural system. You know what I mean? So, for instance, right? And it's funny because I've been doing some research because I know a lot of times we grew up and it was like, the Jewish man, they say the rabbi could say, I went to that myself. The job told me, the rabbi could deem you to work on the Sabbath, right? This what my job told me. Why ain't ask your rabbi? I'm like, nah, my rabbi can't do that. What you talking about? My rabbi can't tell me. It's God's law. You can't go over God's law, right? But I wouldn't say But then if you're looking at it and doing some research and looking into some things, it's not necessarily about going over God's laws. Now, we acknowledge, and it's funny, we acknowledge that when we get back into the land, a lot of us are going to be working on the Sabbath. Not the regular common folk, but it's going to be individuals like you're going to have Shotrim. That's going to be within the inner gates. You're going to have your military on the outer gates who are working. You're going to have your doctors that have to work, right? You're going to have your vets. You're going to have these people like the essential, quote unquote, essential workers.
But
the
the
fire
Torah,
people.
but the Torah, I got to play the advocates now. But the Torah says no work on the Shabbat, no servile work on the Shabbat.
It says no servile work on the Shabbat, but then it also gives you example. But that's where it's an overall, because the Torah will tell you a lot. The Torah will tell you a lot of things, right? The Torah says a lot of things, but then there are like there's instances, right? Let me give you an example. All right, let me give you an example in the scriptures, right? So you have it when during the time of Ezra, right? Ezra was the leader in the time, and Ezra had made everybody get rid of their foreign wives because in the time it was needed. Now, our Lord said we can have foreign wives. It just tell us the steps and stages to go through it, right?
Right.
And then you also had the time of King Hezekiah when he extended the feast, right? And he allowed the unclean to eat during the feast, which was against the Lord. That was set up, but that was the king at the time for the reason in which he said it, and it wasn't frowned upon. There's a number of things in the scriptures that speaks in that instance and it wasn't frowned upon. We look at the time where the Maccabees not in the scriptures, but you look at the time of the Maccabees when people had a mindset and they didn't have the people over them to give them an idea. They didn't want to go to war on the Shabbat, even if they was being attacked. Now us, we would say, you fight back. What's wrong with you? But to their understanding and their knowledge of the scripture and the Lord, you can't. Because the scripture always speaks on burden. The scripture speaks on a whole bunch of different things of that sort, then which you could say that plays into. But there's laws and things that set up and there's common sense. Sometimes you got to do things, right? So, but in that, it's already a known fact that we're going to have these things when we get back. It's a known fact. But what I'm saying is, so you look at it, right? And I'm not saying that here is right, but what you want to do is you want to keep yourself the closest to keeping the Lord's statutes and commandments, right? So you look at them, right? And you'll say, oh, snap, the rabbi could deem you. But then it says your judges set up your bylaws and your statutes within the scriptures. So like, okay, the rabbi could say you could do this and this and that, okay. But then you'll look at it, a lot of time when we have issues on the Shabbat, we go to the hospital, right? We go through general entry, we gotta pay, we do co-pays, we do all these things when we going through situations on the Shabbat. They got it set up to when they go to their clinics with their Jewish people that the rabbi say, you go and you do this. And they are dealt with in the most godly manner in which is possible. Now, this, like I said, this is just whatever, but they're dealt with in a manner
I'm looking at the comments,
which is the most godly possible.
Right.
They can set up, these are my people, huh?
No, I'm saying
these are my people.
At the comment,
I know how to deal with them. No, got you. You know what I'm saying? So, and that, man, but like I said, it's a touchy subject. It's going to be a touchy subject. But I'm bringing my point. You know, you bring it.
Here's the thing, right? And first of all, self-preservation is the first rule of life. It's in the scriptures. It said the dead praiseth not, neither any who go to the deep. Right? In other words, if you dead, you can't praise God. You can't execute Torah or law if you ain't on this earth. So we understand that there are certain jobs that have to be done, even no matter what time of day it is, no matter what season it is. It could be Yom Kippur. If somebody dying, the doctor gonna have to do what he got to do to bring that person to life. You understand? If a baby is coming forth, the midwife and so on and so forth is gonna have to do what they got to do. You know what I'm saying? Even you talking circumcision. You think kids was not circumcised on Yom Kippur? That was a fasting, circumcised child. You understand what I'm saying? Because the law is the law. We have to understand. That's why I get what you're saying in terms of the government, right? Because the government is going to be that which determines and tells you how to execute certain things that may conflict with the actual quote unquote for word, line for line Torah.
a lot of gray areas in which people go. But that's why I said you have those that are in power to set things up for like for instance, like we could talk on guess what? Oh, seeds, the fruits with seeds, and there's a discrepancy with people with that. Certain seeds and not having seeds. But if we had an overall council or judges, they're going to say the manner in how we should deal with it. You know what I'm saying? Or if we had, there's other issues within the scriptures, they're going to set the manner on all the gray areas of the scriptures and how we do with it. A lot of, and the thing with people get sensitive with, but a lot of these things within those missions and different things of that sort are from us and our forefathers way back then that set these things up.
Right.
A lot, but they came in and they added so many things, but a lot of that, the core of it is from us. So a lot of time, yes, it's just the scripture, and I don't know if people understand what I'm saying, but the scripture, the Torah, I mean, itself is the core to this. All these governments use it. It's the core, but that's what people are missing. But the government is set up and it's set within the government. So basically, like for instance, let me say, where it goes, it's like the Torah. All right. For instance, the Torah is like the Constitution, right?
We got about 5 minutes, bro.
Right.
Yeah.
So the Torah is like the Constitution, right? So you have your Constitution, you apply your laws and your statutes surrounding your Constitution.
Right.
So it's a basis. The Torah is a basis. You got to make your things now that go around the Torah for people to understand. That's how you set up a structure off of the Torah, right? So let me see. Because I put it this way, watch this. So if we don't have our own structure, I know it's on about time. We don't have our own structure, right? So you don't make your own structure, you don't make your bylaws and everything that coexists with the scriptures, then you're basically living off of you're basically being governed off of different laws.
Right.
Like us now being governed off of the laws of this land. We are. You answer to the laws of this land.
Right.
Us as Israelites to the laws of this land. We can say as much as we want. We could talk all sovereignty and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, when you go, you're answering to the laws of the land. We got our Torah, but a lot of times you answer to the laws of the land. A lot of, and I mean, and even with that with Israel, there's a lot of Israelites that go to work because they say, I don't want to lose my job. But if we had it set up in a manner that we had our own governmental structure within the land, you'll have something to bring forth to these people in a whole system that you bring forth, and the people that come forth to these people and that presents something to them. Like the Moors. The Moors come with a whole system. The Moors come with all their people and they standing in court.
Ready to go to battle.
They bring all their
on a legal
they're gonna bring all their structure. They're gonna bring, that's what I'm saying. But when we have our governmental structure, we have legal documents. That's what I'm trying to bring to people. The Moors coming with legal documents. And that's how they bring that in front of the government and tell them, you can't tell me nothing. This is the way that I live. This is our laws. This is such and such. And they bring their documents. When I go to court by myself. When you go to court by yourself.
I'm in court. I'm in court with God, but you know what I'm saying? But yeah, I get you, Jeff.
I get you. I mean, they know what I'm saying.
Yeah.
We always walk with y'all. You know what I mean? But I'm talking about an instance of us and the laws of the land. I mean, and us having our structural system. We don't have that. And that's what we got to set up in order for us to move forward. And right. the last thing is just the benefits and the blessings that you get from setting all of this course in action.
Right.
And that's what we need. We didn't really get into the community instruction too much because of the time and everything. And it was a lot to cover. But it's just some things to think about. It's time, we got to step out our little box. I think we Israel like to be comfortable in a box. That's what we used to doing. And we don't step out.
Right.
And we got time to step out that box. Because, like you said, you can't grow in the box. What did they say? You put a shark in a small tank, that shark stays small.
Yeah.
When you put that shark in the big tank, the shark going to grow. And it's time for us to grow. We got to grow. We got to come out that small tank and get into a bigger atmosphere so we can grow. And like I said, it all starts with our spirituality and our connection and being in tune with Yah.
Right.
Yah's going to give us the answer for all that, but it still takes us moving forward and making things happen. And I'm good, Chief. I'm done with that. You know, you can say what you got to say.
Right. It's not much to say, bro. You touched on a lot of it. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you know, and just to elaborate on what you're saying in terms of like, you know, um, the law and how we do it. We know that there's certain things that, you know, you gonna have to do. And I ain't saying go to work on a Shabbat. I ain't saying go to, you know what I mean, go work for Pathmark or Target or something like that. Nah, it's nonsense. You know what I'm saying? Like in no way, shape, or form. But you know, if I'm a fireman and there's a fire next door, you think I can go put that fire out? If I'm an EMT or a medic and somebody's sick or hurt in front of me on a Shabbat, you think I'm gonna help them? You bugging. You know what I'm saying? It'd be sin to not help them, actually. You know what I'm saying? Like that goes into if you see your enemy's ass in a ditch. You understand what I'm saying? That's like seeing somebody sick or injured next to you. So there's some things that need to be elaborated on, but you gotta have a structure to do that. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't
But
get a
the thing,
chance to say it again.
no, the thing is, when we get back to land, you're going to have it regardless. You're going to have a governmental structure.
Oh, that's a fact.
You know what I mean? Whether
That's a
it's
fact.
our children, and when you get there, you're still going to have, like you said, you're going to have the doctors that's ready for things going on when people are
Right.
coming to the hospitals.
Right.
You're going to have the showman that's going around making sure we ain't doing all the things we ain't supposed to be doing in the land. You're going to have
Right.
your watchman on the wall.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're going to have all these things in there, and we are
Facts.
ones that are trained in that position to do so.
Right.
So at the end of the day, people are going to be basically made to have to go and do their duties on the Shabbat.
Right.
It's inevitable. It's inevitable.
Right.
But that is land under our laws and our guidelines. But that's it.
Right. Right. So we touched on trust and belief, being spiritually in tune, manifestation, and bringing things what you bring to the table, community instruction, the benefits and the blessings. I'm sure we could go ahead and we can complete this at another time, as we ain't touch everything. You know what I'm saying? But excuse me. Hopefully, excuse me, family. Hopefully, I got something from this. You know, I pray that God continue to guide, shield, and protect us and bless us and be with us and allow us to continue to grow as a nation. Allow us to be able to put the minor things to the side that we have between one another and to be able to move forward and grow so that we can be that jewel, that treasure that God said that we are. You know what I'm saying? And get to that level. You know, I pray that God be with the sick of Israel, those who are in need, those who are going through tough times. I pray that God shield, protect, and bless, and be with them in their righteousness, and bring to us all that we asking for in our righteousness. You know what I'm saying? And deliver us out of the hand of these people. And give us the understanding to deliver us out the hand of these people. You know, with that, I say we just close out with a prayer. You know, I'll say it, Prince, if you don't mind.
All right, what do you think?
Yeah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Giving all honor and praises to the power of our forefathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, the power of Jacob. Thank you, O great King, for once again blessing us with the completion of another beautiful Shabbat day. Blessing us with understanding, health of body, strength of mind. Thank you so much, Most High God, for even blessing us with family and friends, oh Father. For we understand that there are things that we have that somebody is lacking, but you blessed us with it. We understand and know that, great King, there's somebody in the worst position that we are in, but you have blessed us to be in a good position. Please, oh Father, be with the orphan, the homeless, the fatherless, the widow, the unfortunate, easing their pain and suffering and changing their situation for the better, as well as cover Israel throughout the four corners of the earth, wherever they may be. I pray, O Most High God, at this time that you even be with Cohen Penkas, even be with my brother Adam, great King. Strengthen him, bless him, be with him and his household, his wife and his son and his kids, O Most High God. Be with him to be able to come out of whatever it is that you put him in at this moment, O great King. For we know that it doesn't matter what the doctors say, it doesn't matter their opinion. All that matters is what you see fit to be done. For if it's your will, it's your way. Told out for all things and everything. Please be with us as we go throughout the week, Father. Bless all we put forth our hands to do in our righteousness. Allow us to be successful and prosperous in all of our business endeavors and all we put forth our heart to do in our righteousness. And allow us to see another Shabbat day again. Told out for all things and everything. All honor and praise is due to you, the God of our forefathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob. Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah.
Hallelujah. Praise the mighty Yah.
With that, family, hopefully we see y'all, throughout the week. Stay tuned. We'll keep y'all posted as to what we got going on for donations. You can go into, you can just go into PayPal and type in click send money, friends and family. Type in our email address, shemayisrael297@gmail.com. All right, again, that's shemayisrael297@gmail.com. If you would like to send us a check or a money order, you can make that out to Shema Yisrael, and you can send that to 297 Saratoga Avenue, Brooklyn, New York, 11233. All right. We also have a Cash App. The phone number to our Cash App is 347-989-4869. Again, 347-989-4869. Anything will greatly be appreciated as we are under construction at the moment, and it's a lot to get done, and we definitely need your help and support. Pray that God should protect and be with y'all. Shalom.
Shalom, family.
It's over. It's over, Yish.